We're not even halfway through the tribulation, and it looks doubtful if the world can recover from the environmental damage that man has inflicted upon it. As we shall see, it will get worse, much worse, before it gets better. But let's pause for a reality check. Let's remind ourselves who built the earth in the first place, who put us with 1 billion other life forms on it, and why. We are here for Yahweh's pleasure. He made us so that we might commune with Him, and He made the world to support the life He created within us. That in itself makes the willful destruction of the earth and its inhabitants a heinous act of disloyalty to our Creator, which explains why Satan works so hard toward that goal. Yahweh, however, is not limited by the failings of man or the machinations of the devil.
He made the Pleiades and Orion. He turns the shadow of death into morning, and makes the day dark as night. He calls for the waters of the sea, and pours them out on the face of the earth. Yahweh is His name. Amos 5:8.
We need to reanalyze the political and economic lay of the land, for it has changed a great deal from the world's situation of only a few years before. Again, what I'm about to describe is something of an extrapolation, but consistent with what is revealed in Scripture. For the first time since the days of Nimrod, there is a worldwide power vacuum. The war has killed many of the world's leaders and disrupted governments from Oslo to Canberra, from Tokyo to Cape Town. The Americans have a constitutional crisis on their hands, for the entire emergency succession roster from the president on down, along with the majority of Congress, has been wiped out. The Russian president, plus his heir apparent, and his top 6 rivals are all dead. The Asian governments that escaped the war's nuclear ramifications are nevertheless facing famine from crop failures, economic meltdown from the loss of their trading partners, and widespread anarchy at home. Europe's largest cities are in ruins, and many of its national leaders have fallen. But the Antichrist, the charismatic overlord of the Continental Federation, escaped without a scratch. He had personally been directing UN operations in Israel, upon which no nuclear weapons fell at the time of the attacks. Mr. Lucky. As we have seen, the Islamic nations in the Middle East and Africa have been decimated, and not just their leadership, but the vast majority of their populations. That in itself sends economic shockwaves around the world. Only now are people coming to grips with how much they depended on Middle Eastern oil. The world is learning the true meaning of the term energy crisis. Between atomic blasts in the Middle East oil fields and the tsunami devastation in the North Sea, Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean, the world's oil supply is off by over 80%. In a ripple effect, coal mining slows to a virtual standstill for lack of fuel. And farming on anything approaching a large scale becomes impossible. Most of the world's nuclear power generation facilities have been knocked offline, some with Chernobyl-like repercussions. Even solar energy generation is impossible, since the sun has become black as a sackcloth of hair, as it says in Revelation 6:12. There are great new opportunities for geothermal power generation in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, but nobody seems to know how to harness the awesome energy being unleashed there. People peer at the sooty sky and brace for a long, severe winter. Crop failures are predicted for the coming year. Food prices skyrocket. The cost of electricity soars. Anarchy threatens to engulf the globe. Even the nations who were left relatively unscathed have been sent back to the Stone Age. Their leaders are about to face new and unprecedented challenges, like how to avoid being assassinated by their own starving, angry populations. This passage bears repeating.
Wail, shepherds, and cry. Roll about in the ashes, you leaders of the flock. For the days of your slaughter and your dispersions are fulfilled. You shall fall like a precious vessel,
shattering into tiny, worthless fragments.
And the shepherds will have no way to flee, nor the leaders of the flock to escape. Jeremiah 25:34 and 5.
As society unravels, the remnants of government around the world come together in agreement. What's desperately needed is strong central leadership on a worldwide scale. If we can't impose order from the top down, the whole human race is doomed. We'll fight and kill each other in a paranoid scramble for self-preservation until there's no one left. It has escaped no one's notice, of course, that the United Nations is in shambles. Its world headquarters in New York was destroyed in one of the first nuclear blasts to hit the U.S., but its heart still beats, a fierce determination to gather the peoples of the world together under one banner, united in purpose and determined in will, to pull up the world by its own bootstraps, proud and independent, empowered to shake humanity's collective fist in the face of Yahweh and scream, "We don't need you." To my mind, one of the 20th century's strangest trends was polling. Surveys were taken on every conceivable subject. Now, sure, it made some sense in the commercial realm, where focus groups were employed to determine what people would be apt to spend their money on and why. If people were attracted to the bad red thing instead of the good blue one, then that's what they'd put on the market. But in matters of truth, faith, and the eternal destinies of men, polling makes no sense at all. Truth is not a matter of public opinion. It just is. If 97% of the human race agree that there is no God, does that make Yahweh non-existent? Of course not. The point, though, is just as valid the other way around. Our unanimous assertion that God is here among us, in the flesh, would not in itself make it true. Our opinions have absolutely nothing to do with the truth or falseness of the matter. People, at least in the West, have gotten so used to voicing their opinions on issues that are not really matters of opinion, they will assume during these dark days that all they have to do to make everything work out is to achieve consensus. It's the ultimate myth of democracy. We can and will elect our own Messiah. And so, like ancient Israel demanding a King Saul to govern over them, the world goes looking for the ideal candidate. It quickly boils down to a short list of 3. Now, I'm obviously beyond speculation here. This mental exercise is merely to give you a feel for the moment. An American senator, the apparent front-runner in the heated contest to replace their dead president. The Premier of China, the head of the world's most popular nation and one of the few national leaders to escape the nuclear holocaust, and the European leader, who has already proven himself to be what the others may or may not be, a diplomat of the first rank and a shrewd and capable leader of men. After some jockeying for position, it becomes clear that there's only one man for the job. Even the Chinese and American candidates reluctantly agree. The European leader is the perfect man to guide the shattered world back from the brink of destruction. He's the only one who commands universal respect among nations. Excuse Dar al-Islam, but they no longer count. He has proven his diplomatic abilities in the crafting and implementation of the world's most comprehensive peace treaty. And when that treaty was breached, unilaterally sabotaged by the deceitful Magog Federation, it was he who defended the injured party personally, driving the Egyptians out of Israel and destroying the overwhelming Islamic invasion force. In the process, he proved his military abilities beyond the shadow of a doubt. The fact that he actually had nothing to do with Gog's defeat within Israel is conveniently overlooked. Somebody has to take the credit after all. Even when disaster struck, when the Jews he was so valiantly trying to protect panicked and used their nuclear weapons against the Muslim foe, The fact that he himself had touched off the nuclear fuse was a secret he was determined to take to the grave. He mounted a Herculean and well-coordinated relief effort, saving, so it was claimed, hundreds of thousands of lives. He's so much like Nero, it's scary, but nobody sees the parallels. All of this makes the European leader the man of the hour. He's tall, handsome, and speaks in a resonant baritone voice, spouting wonderful platitudes in 6 different languages. Besides, he looks great on TV, and even with electricity prices going through the roof, the television is the last appliance to go. People are turning off their lights, refrigerators, and washing machines, but not their TVs. The news media have gotten themselves back up and running. The war didn't knock out the satellites. And to hear them tell it, everyone on earth is getting behind a European leader. It's true that every government still in operation has voiced its support of a one-world system, sort of a United States of Earth, with the Euro leader at the helm. But there are multitudes who, as individuals, have their reservations. None of this dissent is being reported, however, for the media moguls have decreed that unity is of the utmost important at this crucial juncture in history. This is as ironic as it is hypocritical. For the last 100 years, the Western press has been giving front-page coverage to every dissenting voice, ignoring the vast majority who just wanted to live quiet, peaceable lives. After all, controversy sells. So causes such as women's lib, homosexual rights, and the need for a Palestinian homeland on Israeli soil, reproductive rights, that is, the ability to legally kill your unborn children, abolishing the death penalty for people who impose their own death penalty upon others, and religious freedom, in other words, your God-given right to hate God, had been artificially kept on full boil for decades. Now the world press was issuing its latest self-fulfilling prophecy. The European leader would soon become the world's leader. His program, some of it, has been leaked to the media. He will implement revolutionary technologies to improve life for all people. The power of the computer will be harnessed to ensure the freedom of every individual on earth, to fight, even prevent, crime, make wars obsolete, head off medical emergencies, locate missing persons, even make buying groceries and paying your electricity bill easier. It will be a bold, imaginative step, one with utopian benefits for everyone on the planet. Film at 11. A televised event is planned to formally introduce the world to their new leader, and as the hour approaches, the despair and anarchy that had gripped the globe begin to dissipate. In the wake of a worldwide nuclear war, amid the worst ecological disaster since the demise of the dinosaurs, many people actually start to feel like there's hope. They sense that somehow they've always had an inner longing for somebody like this, someone who could take the burden of the world government upon his shoulders, a wonderful counselor who would be a father figure to them, one who would finally put an end to war, a prince of peace. Few knew that millennia before this, the prophet Isaiah had predicted the appearance of just such a man. Unfortunately, not the man the celebrants were honoring, but the one he was impersonating. In a move fraught with portent, the Antichrist arranges for his inauguration to be held near the scene of his greatest diplomatic triumph, the new Jewish temple in Jerusalem. Ironically, the Temple Mount, which was supposed to be a symbol of Earth's unity, now has a large open area right in the middle of it that will serve perfectly for this huge gathering. The gap was created when exuberant Israelis had bulldozed the Dome of the Rock shortly after Magog's humiliating defeat. They didn't want to give the few remaining Muslims a reason to come back, ever. They would not repeat Moshe Dayan's disastrous blunder of 1967.